Hope you're having a great night. Hello, hello. To bear with me, I flipped this so it would be straight for you. You know, I'm used to lives being backwards, and I flipped it so you could read my whiteboard, so I may be like looking off in weird directions, and but I will get my point across. So we'll wait one more minute before we get started. Hello, hello. Why, thank you. Do you like my Sedalia designs? Hello, Nadine. Oh, do I hear my kitty sneezing? You'll sneeze? Yeah? You want to come say hi? Probably not. She probably does not. Mine too, and we just discontinued them because we didn't have many, but we may bring them back because they're one of my faves. So one more minute. So I won't be answering questions while I'm doing this because I have a lot to talk about. I want to keep this less than an hour. If I feel like I don't cover everything I want to cover, or if I feel like some of your questions could be another talk, then I will talk about this again. It's something I'm very passionate about. I'm going to cover a little bit of my background, which some people don't know, why this is such a passion for me, and then I will get into the whole cellular nutrition, which is something that really is not talked about. So I started my first job at a health club when I was 16 years old, so that is why at 56 I can say I have 4 decades of experience. When I started working at the health club, I dove in. I was very intrigued, very interested. Long time ago when Arnold Schwarzenegger was, you know, a bodybuilder, and if you're my age or older, you'd even recognize some of the names that were big in fitness. And I learned a lot about fitness, and I thought I learned a lot about nutrition, but there's so much more information out there now. So, and the funny thing is, as much information is out there as is out there now, when you look at it all goes back to a basic foundation, and it never really changed, just the information wasn't out there. So when I became 18, as soon as I was old enough to get certified in fitness training and nutrition, I did, and worked in that industry for a long time, always had interest in it, kept learning, stepped away from it in my 40s, and didn't work out for 10 years. Through that process, I went from being pre-diabetic to diabetic, got back to nutrition when I became diabetic because I did not want to get on medication. And at that time, realized how much more information there was about nutrition. And over the last 7 years, I just keep going down this rabbit hole and learning more and more and more and more. So that is what I'm going to kind of touch on tonight. I'm going to keep it really simple, no scientific terms. We're going to keep this so that everybody can understand it. If you don't know why this is such a passion for me, it has so much more to do with people around me than the fact that I've been involved in it for 4 decades. My mother had terrible health issues. She ate terribly. I am 56. When she was 50, she stood up out of a chair, broke her hip. She had degenerative bones, severe osteoporosis, and many other health issues. She never walked well again. She went from a walker to a wheelchair to a hospital bed and spent the last 20 years of her life miserable and in horrific pain, and became addicted to pain meds and did not live a quality life. The thing is, I remember, because my parents, they did not love my passion for fitness and health, and they thought it was vanity. And I remember her doctor clearly, she had a good doctor telling her, you need to change your diet. You need to get on a treadmill, you need to lift some weights. And he told her this 10 years before she broke her hip. Okay, so I feel like with everything that I've learned, had she had the tools, she suffered from depression, and that's why I say she didn't have the tools to want to be well. But had she had those tools, I believe most of her health issues could have been fought. I believe our days are numbered. I still think she would have lived to mid-70s, but I think she could have lived a better quality of life. And that is what I am doing for myself and I'm offering to you. The thing is, your health is your choice. And I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm talking like I'm better than them or I'm smarter than them. I promise you, everything I've learned has helped me stop making mistakes that I was making because I was eating poorly. So the choice is yours, but I want you to be able to make informed choices. The doctor handing you a pamphlet does not give you an informed choice because they are not telling you about cellular nutrition. They're telling you about things that unfortunately just put more money in their pocket. For the most part, there are some really good doctors, okay? So watching my mother suffer really exacerbated me wanting to fix my health when I was 50. When I was 49, I felt old and became diabetic. And I was like, I don't want my last 20 years or whatever to be like my mother's. Fixing my health gave me the energy to grow my business. And then I've met all these amazing women, and I meet a lot of women my age and 10 and 15 years younger that already have health issues. And they are unfortunately food related. And I know people don't want to believe that, but there's just too much science proving it. So my story, when I was 49, became diabetic from being pre-diabetic, listened to my doctor and went from pre-diabetic to diabetic. And decided I did not want to be on medication because I know medication means more medication eventually. If you're on a medication, many of you can probably attest to this. If you've been on a medication for any amount of time, you ultimately got put on another medication. If you had a health issue, you ultimately ended up with another health issue. And that is exactly what I wanted to prevent. I didn't know if it was possible to entirely prevent it. So far, so good. I am preventing it. So some of you have probably heard me talk about my analogy about happy cells. And I love to correlate our cells in our body to a person going to work and not loving their job, okay? So our cells have a job to do. Our cells keep us happy, keep us healthy, keep us, functioning. So a person that does not love their job, they get up and they mope and they go do their job, and at the end of the week they get their paycheck and they do it again week after week, and they just do it by route, and they're not happy, and they're probably complaining, and they're probably not healthy because they're probably eating comfort food, and ultimately they burn out and they either leave that job or they get replaced because they're not doing a great job. That's exactly how I see our cells. When we feed our cells well, our cells are happy, they're amazing, they are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, they don't get burnt out, they don't only work till Friday for the paycheck, they're jumping around, keeping you doing what you're supposed to do. So think of the person, and maybe that person is you if you have a job you don't love. That's how your cells feel when you feed them bad food. And that is the easiest analogy that I can give you. So I also want to talk about disease became rampant after the 70s and why that happened, because if you have an autoimmune disease, you might know that they don't know a lot about it, or they might, well, we don't know how you got that. We don't know how people are getting these. There's over 90 autoimmune diseases that are reversible on a cellular nutrition diet, and people don't want to believe it because their doctors don't buy into it, because their doctors aren't taught this. So in 1974, when the first food pyramid was presented to the public, It had the following message: a good healthy diet at a reasonable price. You know, who doesn't love a reasonable price? If you guys, many of you in here work with me, I'm all about wholesale, okay? I love a great price. But food should not be equated to saving, you know, you should not give up good food in order to save money. I mean, there's kind of a fine line there. So this pyramid was made up of 3 parts, okay? The base included basic foodstuffs. What are foodstuffs? Foodstuffs are things we don't need. Our cells don't need foodstuffs to make us healthy, okay? And foodstuffs considered essential to the individual's well-being. And this included cereals, dairy products, pasta, and potatoes. None of these are needed to be healthy. As a matter of fact, they exacerbate, create disease, and make us unhealthy. Now there is new pasta now that's made out of beans or made out of vegetables. There are different things now that can replace some of this stuff, but for the most part, we do not need cereal, we do not need dairy products, we do not need pasta, we do not need potatoes, okay? So that's kind of where it began. And let's just throw sugar and flour in there, even though they're not on the food pyramid. But if you remember the food pyramid, you know, here your triangle, and the big bottom part was how many servings of those foods that will make you sick, okay? So let's talk about the standard American diet, okay? We talked about the food pyramid, and people are getting sicker younger. And that is because of all the chemicals in the food. People buy into the fact that if it's on a grocery store shelf, it's edible. And the sad thing is, they know, and I'm not gonna call out names and call out companies, but they know it's not edible. They know it's not healthy. But what they know is it won't kill you overnight, so they get away with it, okay? But it's killing you slowly. And if you already don't feel well, if you don't have crazy energy, I have crazy energy. I wake up with crazy energy. 6 o'clock at night, I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. I have crazy energy because I feel good, because my cells are doing their job. And if you don't feel this well, I know a lot of 30-year-old women that don't feel this well, you've got to look in your refrigerator, you've got to look in your cupboard, okay? So the standard American diet is why people are getting sicker younger. And here's the difference that we're going to talk about. Standard American diet on a scale. This is how healthy you are. Fad diets put you here, and the only reason they raise you up a little is because they get some body fat off of you, and we're going to talk about that. Cellular Nutrition puts you at your peak health, peak performance, and then when you add exercise and supplements to that, vitamins, it takes it up another level. So we're going to talk about all these things. So the standard American diet, you're waiting for disease. It takes 10 years for disease to develop. So if you don't have a disease yet, but you don't feel great, you don't have energy, you just don't, not even sure how to explain it, but I didn't have this kind of energy at 20. I was 10 pounds lighter, I worked out, but I ate like crap. I carried Rice Krispie treats in my purse, okay? So I don't ever want anyone to think there's judgment, because I promise you I've been there, all right? So at this time, I was waiting for disease. I was waiting for my type 2 diabetes, okay? And I was making it happen with what I was eating. So standard American diet, when you think about the normal average breakfast, I mean, we send our kids, I sent my kids to school on a bowl of cereal with a sandwich, a bag of chips, and a Twinkie, or something like that. No nutritional value, zero. I gave them zero nutrition for their day. Then they came home and they had some meat and either potatoes or pasta, some bread and butter, you know, and a side of vegetable. So maybe 5 to 10% of what I was feeding my children daily fed their cells. So I'm guilty. So I promise you no judgment, okay? So standard American diet, if you're not eating cereal, are you eating a Pop-Tart? Are you eating sugar for breakfast? You are giving yourself, you know, a horrible foundation to your day. And when you eat, you should be energized. You should feel raring to go until your next meal. And if that's not happening, if you either feel a droop after you eat, or you need to lay down after you eat because you're so stuffed, that's a problem, and that is disease creating, okay? So 10 years to develop disease living on the standard American diet, and most of us eat the standard American diet. That is cereal, that is, people that cook eggs, most of the time they have eggs, potatoes, and toast. The potatoes could kind of sort of be healthy, the eggs could be healthy, but it's the combination of what you're doing, all right? You're missing vegetables and fruit. You've got to start your day with fruit and some vegetables and get your cells awake and going and doing what they need to do, doing their job they were created to do. So one of the biggest problems, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves, are fad diets. And trust me, I did many of them, okay? So again, no judgment, but you get these, one of my pet peeves with them is because being on social media, anyone who's involved in a fad diet and has lost 10 pounds wants to shove their diet down your throat. Every diet that does not allow you to eat fruit, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans is a problem. It is disease promoting. You may feel like you've cured or reversed a disease. You may have some good medical numbers for a while because you've lost body fat. Body fat stores disease. Body fat does definitely change a lot of things in our system, and our body fat needs to be low to be at our healthiest. But thin does not equal healthy. So if you got healthy on a fad diet and you are not eating cellular nutrition, you are not giving your body food it recognizes, you are 10 years from a disease. You might have already had a disease, you might see some reversal, but you're still heading in that direction. So now let's talk vitamins and exercise. So if you're eating the standard American diet and you're adding exercise and vitamins, it really doesn't bring your health up at all. And I've heard from people, I've got some notes here of things people have told me. I don't eat clean because I take vitamins. Swing and a miss, okay? Food is your foundation. Vitamins take you up a notch, okay? So, and then I also hear from people, my doctor said I can have this in moderation. There are things we should never, ever put in our body. And I can tell you a year ago, even with doing research that I'm still doing, I spend over 10 hours a week doing research. A year ago, I would have told you, if you don't have disease, if you're a healthy young person, you can eat sugar, you can eat a bowl of cereal, you can eat these things. Now, knowing what I know, I don't think you should ever put them in your body, okay? So, and I'm actually gonna touch on something that happened to me the last time I ate ice cream and explain how I know what it did to me on the cellular level and what could have happened because of it. So, exercise, vitamins, standard American diet does not help, okay? What if you're on a fad diet and you're doing exercise and vitamins? Still does not really bring you up any further. Is not going to prevent disease, okay? And again, remember, thin does not equal healthy. And that is such a misconception. When I was diagnosed pre-diabetic, I weighed 10 pounds less. I was running a couple miles a few days a week. But I was eating my Cheerios. I should have thrown a brand out there. I shouldn't be doing that. But I was eating that supposedly healthy cereal, Heart Smart, right? Which leads me to the fact that labels are not honest and do not have to be honest. So if it's got pretty pictures on a box and labels and all kinds of information and all kinds of ingredients, it probably is not good for you, probably should not be in your body, okay? Look at a cereal box, look at all the vitamins in it, then look at all the garbage in it. That just negated all the vitamins. So you are being sold a bag of goods. You are being sold garbage, and we keep buying into it, okay? So that leads me to, there will never be a magic pill. I don't know if you can see that. It's in red down here. And what do I mean by that? There is never going to be a magic pill. I got an email this morning that said, like the headline was, she lost 127 pounds taking this tiny seed every day. There is not one thing that can entirely fix your health. So even cellular nutrition is many things. It is many food items, okay? There will never be a magic pill. There will never be one vitamin that fixes your health. There will never be, I don't believe there will ever be a cure to cancer, but I believe food can prevent cancer. Cellular nutrition decreases your chance of cancer by 70%. Okay, I mean, that's pretty strong. So what is cellular nutrition? Cellular nutrition is when we feed our cells food it recognizes. Like I said, our little cells like to do their job, opposite the person that doesn't like their job. What is this food? It is food God made. It is fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans. It's really very simple. Okay, and we look at it and we make it difficult, and that's why I've designed a 10-day program where you can eat with me. And what I did was took all my quick, like today, lunch was 6 minutes. Okay, I made lunch in 6 minutes and ate very healthfully, fed my body well, and that's how I eat all the time, whether it is quick or I take time to cook, which I will be doing more of once I move and I've got space, and I can work on that. I'm going to be working on more recipes. I'm going to be helping you guys out more here. So yes, I have a 10-day program, but also, do you need to join that program? If you're not understanding things, it will help you. If you understand things and you can look at the recipes I've already put in this group and you follow them and you stay away from the food that is killing you, both of these, then you don't really need my help. So let's touch on fad diets again. Fad diets, I get attacked by people all the time that are on these fad diets, and they love them because they feel like it's doing so much for them. And when I discuss the things that they're missing and discuss their health with them, sometimes I just see like a light come on, like, yeah, I don't always feel good. Yeah, I have been sick. I haven't been sick in 4 years. I haven't had a cold in 4 years. I can tell you of 3 times I started to get a cold. And you know how you get that tinge of pain in your throat, like you're getting a sore throat, and you're going to wake up in the morning and you're probably going to be in bed for days. I've had that happen 3 times. And in the last 4 years, what did I do? I immediately ate a bunch of berries, antioxidants, loaded up on my vitamins. I doubled my vitamins, and I slept. And the next day, I'm fine, like new money. So I have never been sick for more than maybe like an hour. I attack it because I don't let it attack me. And that is how our body's supposed to work. That is how our cells are supposed to work, which leads me to the story of the last time I ate ice cream. Okay, so year ago, October, when my husband and I were on a vacation. When we're on vacation, he eats ice cream 2 to 3 times a day. He does not eat the way I eat. We have a difference of opinions here. And he doesn't have the health issues I have. However, he will tell you he feels old. I don't feel old. There's a big difference. Anyway, so we're in the ice cream parlor for probably the 3rd time of the day. And I didn't crave ice cream because I have sugar out of my system. So that does happen. You get away from wanting these things. But I thought, yeah, I'll have some cheesecake ice cream. So I eat it, check my blood sugar in the morning. My blood sugar was spiked. I'm diabetic. Even though I've reversed it, I'm always gonna be diabetic. My blood sugar stayed up from that ice cream for 3 days. Why is that a problem? So our cells each have, and I'm gonna call it a little soldier, okay? Because there's long names and I probably don't pronounce them right anyway. But every cell has a little soldier that keeps that cell healthy, keeps that cell doing its job. These cells can leave, these soldiers can leave the cell and go fight other areas in your body. So say you get sick from anything, your soldiers from other cells all go there. Like, you know, you get something feverish, you know what I'm saying? Like you have an injury and it's hot. That's your cells working, okay? That's those soldiers working. Those soldiers can go back home, okay, when they're done. However, if you keep making them leave their cell, they forget how to get back home. That's how diabetics lose limbs, okay? That's why diabetics are, I don't like to say the word on any film because I know that all the social media tracks it, but what's going on in 2020, what everybody's afraid of, that if your soldiers are overworking, that is why you're susceptible. So while for 3 days, while my blood sugar was off, my pancreas was overworking. When you're diabetic, it's a pancreas issue. So your pancreas is already a little damaged. My soldiers are all fixing my pancreas for 3 days. What if you get exposed to something while that's going on? You can't fight it because your soldiers are busy, all right? So that's something people don't understand, and they don't understand how they have control over this by feeding their cells well, keeping their soldiers in place, doing their job, okay? So, let's see. And what are doctors missing? So I've been interviewing people. This is part of an ebook that I'm going to put out. And I've been interviewing people that are cancer survivors, people that have autoimmune disease, and I'm finding the same thing with all of them. Their doctors never did a nutrition assessment. I've heard from 3 cancer patients that the doctor said they could eat anything they want, when in fact the food that they ate that was not evaluated put them where they're at. Okay, we all have cancer in our bodies, we do. Food makes it, food decides whether it's toxic or not. So all your soldiers are maybe off doing something else, you've got cancer somewhere in your body, guess what? It's gonna attack you because you're keeping your soldiers in a different organ doing a different job other than what they're supposed to be doing, okay? And some confusion lies because people think, well, she eats this way and is diabetic, I eat this way and I'm not diabetic. We all have different fault lines. We all have different areas where our bodies are going to fail, okay? Some of that's hereditary. Some of that is just, you know, weakness that we are born with, but maybe it didn't come from other generations. So heredity is 4% of our future health if we take care of ourselves. It is 25% of our future health if we don't take care of ourselves. So again, we have a lot of control, okay? So nutrition assessments, doctors need to be doing nutrition assessments and they do not, they never do. They diagnose you, they have a protocol, and that's what you're told to follow. They never do a nutrition assessment. In a health situation, when someone does send you for a nutrition assessment or send you to a dietitian, you're getting sent to somebody, and I have 3 certificates in nutrition, so now I do understand this and I do know this, okay? They send you to somebody who has to follow guidelines, has to follow nutrition guidelines, and those nutrition guidelines come from organizations that are bought and paid for by companies that sell sugar and sell products that are making us sick, okay? So you're not getting the right information if you're being told you can eat whatever you want when you have a disease, especially cancer, okay? So cellular nutrition is simply food our body understands. It is food God made. Man came along and bastardized food, okay? Man came along and changed everything, and boy, does it taste good. But guess what? It is killing people in droves. There is, over 50 million people in the United States have type 2 diabetes, which is reversible. It is a completely preventable and reversible disease. Once you get type 2 diabetes, when your doctor starts prescribing medication, your doctors don't tell you, you are basically just waiting for your heart attack. You are waiting for heart disease, heart attack, and other diseases, including Alzheimer's, which is type 3 diabetes, which a lot of people don't know that. They just, oh, Alzheimer's is in my family, I'm probably gonna end up with Alzheimer's. You don't have to end up with Alzheimer's if you feed your cells properly, okay? So most doctors aren't giving you the option to feed your cells properly. And the sad truth, what really makes me sad, is most health professionals do very little research other than what they have to do to keep up with any licensure. So what does that mean? New information, it used to take 3 to 5 years for new information to be published and come out. Now, because of the internet, every 90 days there's new scientific information. And like I said, you know what? I've tried many fad diets because something's gonna work. It's gonna work. Metabolism boosters, as an example. If you naturally boost your metabolism with exercise and good nutrition, cellular nutrition, it's healthy. You take a metabolism booster, you also age your organs because you speed up your metabolism chemically and you're aging your organs. So I shy away from any company. If I know they sell a metabolism booster, I don't want anything to do with anything else they sell because I know they are only in it for the money, okay? So here's the thing, doctors are, like I started to say, and that's why I'm not looking at questions or anything right now because I do get squirrels, but they could continue and learn, and some doctors do, and that's actually how I started learning this. I started learning from doctors and then went to what they cited in their books and looked up scientists and then started researching that and just keep digging and keep digging and keep digging. But there are so many doctors out there that do not do any research, and they are doing way more harm than good. They really should be ashamed of themselves. So it's another one of my pet peeves. So cellular nutrition fights disease, prevents disease, and it's food that our cells recognize. And it's so simple. It's berries, it's apples, it's bananas. You hear people, oh, bananas are fattening. Not if you're not eating garbage, they're not. I eat a banana every day, have for 7 years. I'm not fat. I've lost 50 pounds, okay? So you can't say bananas are fattening. And then you get people that say, like, all of a sudden, oh my God, you've got to eat these potatoes because these potatoes come from such and such, and those people live until they're 110 and they have no health issues. Do you know what they're missing? They're missing the fact that in that country, there's no genetically modified food. There's probably also no pollution in the air. There's no man-bastardized products. So while, yes, these people consume a lot of potatoes because potatoes are growing easily where they reside, potatoes aren't the answer, okay? It's the whole big picture. They're not getting poison and chemicals in their system, all right? So that leads me to, there are over 10,000 all natural, I say that loosely, products, let's call them products because some are in food, some are in skincare. But there are over 10,000 considered all natural that are damaging to our bodies, that our cells don't recognize, okay? So if you look at a box of anything, shampoo, anything, and it's got something you can't pronounce, you probably should not be using it, okay? That is something damaging your cellular function. That is another, skincare and hair care is another avenue where once a cancer patient has a dietary assessment, they should also have, what have you been putting on your skin? What have you been doing? How can we find out how this happened to you? That's what doctors should be doing. Because disease is a symptom. Disease is a symptom of cellular malfunction, whether it is thyroid disease, thyroid issues, people, oh, I have a thyroid issue. I hear that from a lot of people. And doctors take that as, okay, yes, it's very serious. I get that. Thyroid issue is very serious, but what caused it? Something caused it. You need to fix it. And the thing is, you can fix it. You depending on what's wrong with you, depending on your diagnosis, you may not ever become 100%, okay? But what if you could feel 20%, 30%, 50%, 70% better than you feel? And I believe when you start feeding your cells, and it's a beautiful thing, they start doing their job and they start repairing your body, okay? I don't believe you're too far gone until you're gone. Okay, so again, it's a choice. How do you want to live your life? How do you want the quality of your life to be? I say this all the time. I might get hit by a bus at some point. I do have a day that's numbered. God decided that for me. But until that day, you're going to see Marcy this energetic. You're going to see Marcy doing crazy hyper things, pushing against what everybody says a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old woman should do. I will be fighting against that. And I will be able to do it because I don't eat man-made garbage. Okay? So, again, cellular nutrition, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, tiny bit of meat, and you want to make sure that the meat is as best quality as possible. A really good book to read is What the Fork. If you read What the Fork, it may scare you from ever eating meat again. So that is that. I think I've covered everything. So we can, as I said, we can repair many things in our body, many things about our health, but we have to maintain that type of eating. You can't fix it and go back to old habits. So I detest the word diet because you need a lifestyle change. I don't feel like I diet. There are things I don't eat. And there's, as I've explained this last half hour, there's a clear reason why I don't eat these things, okay? I do not want to live the life that my mother lived. I can't help her, but I can help other people. And I focus on working with the people that are interested in being helped. So I do have my program starting Monday. Tomorrow the grocery list is going to go out, shopping list. I've made it super, super easy. You're going to be like, really? It was this simple? And the thing is, in 10 days, you're actually going to be sugar detoxed as well. So hopefully you'll join me on that. I've also marked it down to $12. I mean, you're going to get a month of workouts with me. You're going to get the 10 days of eating with me. You're going to get a lot of bonus information. And, you know, I don't know how to make it any easier for you. I'm going to go through and answer questions in here after I leave the video. But I believe I've covered everything that I want to cover. But the biggest thing is you have control. So you make the decision about your health, okay? And I don't want to say that I'm not compassionate. I'm very compassionate, clearly, and want to help people. But when you learn this and then you don't want to help yourself, it's really kind of on you at that point. So you've got to make the decision on how you want to live the rest of your life. Thanks.